So imagine this scenario. We've got our pastor's laptop. So he's come in the morning, he's brought the laptop in. We've got it set up on a special laptop stand and it's coming out of here. Our signal's coming out. We've got two signals because it's stereo, and it's going to go into our DI boxes. Now it's going to go all the way along here, down a multi-core, whatever you like, into our wonderful mixing desk. And this is a QU32. Awesome, absolutely awesome mixer for churches, and one I'd highly recommend you have a look at. Great value. Okay, so we've got our two DI boxes here. We're going to take those through to the desk. Then this desk is powered into the wall. So let's give ourselves a wall plug socket here, and out it comes. We're going to plug our desk into the wall. That goes through into some mains power distribution and through the kitchen, through the fridges, through all the stuff, through etc, 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 etc. And eventually we get back to another socket in the wall over here, and we run it on our nice MacBook power supply, which takes us back up to here again. Okay, so what we've got here in effect is a loop. So if you have a look at that, let's see that. So how many loops can you guys see? Well, we've got our main loop here, which is pretty obvious, but because it's stereo, you've got one for that line and then you've got another loop for that line. So we've actually got two loops here, and then we've got a third loop as well, which is going on between these. Now whenever you've got a loop of metal, then current's going to flow in it. It may not be much, but it will. And so in these earth connections and in these earth loops we've got here, we're going to end up with current flowing. Now if you remember back to our mono jack and the unbalanced line, which is what we've got right here, it's these two here are both unbalanced. Can you remember that ground was actually part of the audio signal? So that's a big issue, because this ground that we've got over here is a loop, and that loop's getting hums and buzzes and noise and interference and stuff on it, and at this point here it's actually part of our audio signal. So these DI boxes here are reading that ground noise as part of their signal. So what can we do? I mean, that basically that noise sounds like zzz or zzz, all those kind of humming kind of noises. So what can we do to get rid of it? I mean, the obvious thing is we break the earth. Now, I've been to churches and venues where I've discovered that they've decided that the great place to break the earth would be here. Now, as you can imagine, that's got a few issues, because if we say not a laptop, but say it was like a keyboard or something, or a guitar amplifier, if we break the earth here, what's going to happen if there's a fault in the amplifier? Well, the answer is that it's going to earth through you. I mean, it might have a go at trying to earth through this lot, but basically it's going to earth through you. And if you ever had mains voltage earth through you, you'll be shocked, shall we say, what it's like. It's not great. That is a big no-no. So we've got to find somewhere else in these three loops that we're going to break the earth. And the great obvious place is in this DI box, and in this DI box right here. So what we can do is we can actually break that earth, and let's quickly cut to this. So what you've got here is we've got our earth lift switch. So I flick that up. That's what this switch is doing. So let's now talk about the consequences of that and what's going to happen next. So we've got our earth broken at this point, so now we've got no loop. That's fantastic. If you look at it, the signal has still got its earth because it's running around through here, so it's still earth but from the other side, but that's all good. So now we're going to imagine that the pastors, we've done our checks for the evening. It's Saturday night before church, everything's great, the laptop's sounding awesome, we're all good, excellent, set to go, all set. Pastor comes in the morning and he leaves his power supply at home because he forgot it. So let's get rid of this. He plugs in his laptop, and hey presto, what happens is buzzing. And you think, well, wait a minute, last night I fixed that buzz and I lifted the earth. But now what's happened is there isn't any route of earth at all for our signal. So that earth is floating in effect. So we need to provide an earth to the laptop, so there's a reference again. So what would you do in this scenario? Well, if we earth both, we get this loop back again. So instead we're just going to earth one. So we'll go back to our DI boxes and just take one of them, and we're going to flick the earth switch on one of those DI boxes. Now that's going to earth that DI box, and brilliant, we'll get rid of our buzz again. So we're all good. We've prepared the things before the service. We got hold of the pastor's laptop. It's all fine. It's excellent. Now, what's going to happen? I've had this kind of thing happen so many times. Is the pastor then comes on stage and he's realised that his battery is really low, and he's managed to get a charger without any of us knowing, and he's got that charger plugged in. Hey Bristow, we're back in that situation where we've got an earth loop again and the buzz is back. So you can imagine what this is like. It can be quite hard to keep track of, especially portable devices where earths can come and go. So I've also had a scenario where we might have another lead coming off this laptop that's providing a screen, and the VGA port, for instance, or the Thunderbolt port is also earthed on a Mac. So that was another loop where we had that same thing earthed back to that same position. So I can't tell you now whether you should earth or lift the earth on your setup, because it varies, as you can see from the scenario. But hopefully this gives you a bit of an insight into what's going on to make sure that you've got the right settings on your earth or lift. And to be honest, if you're not sure, then try every combination. Try them both earthed, both lifted, one earthed, one not, and try reversing those. Because imagine, say, you'd got a cable that was faulty, one of these ones here, that had a broken earth on it. You know, you could be hours trying to work out what's going on. So that's another reason to have great cables. We do some awesome ones with a lifetime warranty, in fact.
Note to self, buy a DI box for my stage at my church. No, not to you, producers. Write a note to me. A note to myself. Produce.
So that's what...
Action.
Now, if you have the scenario where you get rid of the main buzz and that's actually gone, sometimes it is possible that you can have the situation where you've got your earth path coming through here that's going through all this slot back to the DI box. Okay, so we've got a scenario where we've lifted here and we're lifted here. This earth loop round here can actually end up being quite long. So sometimes if you've still got a buzz, that can still cause you a problem. So even though it's lifted and it's not actually a loop, you can still end up with differentials that are different from one side of the DI box to the other because of the length of the earth. So another thing to try, just if you're really struggling, is take that stage power socket here, run yourself an extension lead right next to your front of house desk and power your front of house desk from that. That can really help you. And just as we're finishing off now, one last thing to note, the new digital desks, this whole section, there's no earth. So you're earthing back to a stage rack, which is maybe local, and that is really helpful because it makes all our loops so much smaller, and it really helps get rid of susceptibility to buzz and hum. But that's what that switch is for on your DI box. It's to get rid of earth loops. So hopefully you understand that now, and you can put that into action at your church. Cool. Well, it's been great to see you today, and I might have to just push Steve out of the way now.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry for working hard.
He's a nightmare. I can't even remember what I was saying now. He's put me off completely. I'm saying goodbye. That was it. See you later.